The Menendez brothers, Lyle and Eric, have been imprisoned for over 3 decades. Convicted in 1996 for the murders of their parents, they became infamous figures. Now, a glimmer of hope emerges for their potential release. District Attorney George Gascón advocates for their resentencing. Renewed public interest fueled by Netflix documentaries has reignited debate. Gascón argues their life sentence was overly harsh. He cites their young age and alleged abuse history. The case is back in the spotlight, prompting national conversation. The upcoming hearing in November is eagerly anticipated. It promises to be a dramatic showdown with uncertain outcomes. Kim Kardashian, a prominent voice in the fight for criminal justice reform, has emerged as a staunch advocate for the Menendez brothers. Her interest in the case speaks to her broader commitment to overturning what she sees as unjust sentences and advocating for second chances. Kardashian, a law student herself, has been vocal about her belief that the brothers deserve a shot at parole. Kardashian views the Menendez case as emblematic of a flawed justice system. She argues that the brothers' history of alleged abuse was not adequately considered during their original trial. Her public support for their resentencing has brought significant attention to the case, amplifying calls for a re-examination of the evidence and the circumstances surrounding the murders. Kardashian's advocacy extends beyond the courtroom. She has used her massive social media platform to raise awareness about the case and to encourage her followers to engage in the conversation about criminal justice reform. Her involvement has undoubtedly brought new perspectives and a renewed sense of urgency to the fight for the Menendez brothers' potential release. The Menendez brothers' story has captivated Hollywood, with actors from recent Netflix productions calling for their release. Nicholas Alexander Chavez and Cooper Koch, who played the brothers, support Gascon's decision. Their involvement blurs the lines between fiction and reality. Chavez and Koch have spoken about the emotional toll of portraying the brothers. Their experiences offer unique insight into the case's psychological complexities. They believe the brothers' actions should be viewed through the lens of trauma. Their voices carry weight, bringing the story to life for a new generation. The Menendez case shocked the nation in 1989 when Lyle and Eric brutally murdered their parents in their Beverly Hills mansion. The crime scene was gruesome. Jose and Kitty had been shot multiple times. The brutality and the family's wealth made it a media sensation. Initially, the brothers were not suspects. Their lavish spending after the murders raised suspicions. Investigators uncovered a motive of greed. The prosecution painted them as cold-blooded killers driven by inheritance. The case became a cautionary tale of wealth and ambition. Section 5. A controversial defense: abuse or greed. As the trial unfolded, the brothers' defense team presented a startling counter-narrative. Lyle and Eric claimed they had acted in self-defense, driven to kill their parents after years of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. This shocking revelation shifted the public's perception of the case, introducing a new layer of complexity to the narrative. The brothers offered detailed and often graphic accounts of the abuse they claimed to have suffered. They described their father, Jose, as a tyrannical and controlling figure who subjected them to horrific forms of abuse. They alleged that their mother, Kitty, was complicit in the abuse, choosing to protect her husband rather than her sons. The defense argued that the brothers lived in constant fear of their parents, believing that they would be killed if they ever revealed the abuse. They claimed that the murders were a desperate act of self-preservation, committed in a moment of terror. The case became a referendum on the nature of abuse, challenging societal perceptions of family dynamics and the often hidden scars of trauma. Section 6. Decades later, family pleads for clemency. The Menendez brothers have now spent over half their lives behind bars, their case fading from the headlines but never truly forgotten. However, the recent push for their resentencing has breathed new life into the debate, with family members stepping forward to plead for their release. These pleas offer a glimpse into the enduring emotional toll of the case and the complexities of familial bonds. Relatives have shared stories of the brothers' transformation while incarcerated. They describe them as remorseful and rehabilitated, having used their time in prison to reflect on their actions and to work towards personal growth. They argue that the brothers, now in their 50s, pose no threat to society and deserve a chance to rebuild their lives. These emotional appeals highlight the human cost of the Menendez tragedy, reminding us that this is not just a legal case but a story about a family forever marked by violence and loss. Their pleas for clemency underscore the enduring power of forgiveness and the possibility of redemption, even in the face of horrific crimes. The potential release of the Menendez brothers has ignited a firestorm of debate, exposing deep divisions within the public about justice, accountability, and the purpose of punishment. Opinions remain sharply divided, with some believing that the brothers have served their time and deserve a chance at freedom, while others maintain that their crimes warrant their continued imprisonment. Those who support their release argue that the brothers were victims themselves, driven to commit a horrific act by years of alleged abuse. They point to their clean prison records and expressions of remorse as evidence of their rehabilitation. They believe that justice demands their release, allowing them to rebuild their lives and contribute to society. Conversely, those who oppose their release believe that the brothers received a fair trial and that their punishment fits the crime. They argue that releasing them would diminish the severity of their actions and send a dangerous message that violence is an acceptable response to abuse. They believe that true justice requires holding the brothers accountable for their actions, regardless of their past trauma. The Menendez brothers' case has always been a media spectacle, but the recent involvement of celebrities like Kim Kardashian has amplified the conversation, potentially influencing public opinion and raising questions about the role of celebrity in shaping narratives around justice. Kardashian's vocal support for the brothers has introduced the case to a new generation, many of whom are unfamiliar with its intricacies. Her advocacy has sparked online debates and encouraged her millions of followers to engage with the case, potentially swaying public opinion in favor of the brothers' release. The involvement of actors who portrayed the brothers in recent Netflix productions has also added a layer of complexity to the conversation. Their public statements, informed by their experiences inhabiting the roles of Lyle and Eric, have humanized the brothers in the eyes of some, potentially garnering sympathy and support for their potential release. The legal battle over the Menendez brothers' potential release is far from over. DA Gascón's recommendation for resentencing is just the first step in a complex process that will likely involve numerous legal challenges and appeals. The outcome remains uncertain, with the brothers' fate hanging in the balance. The upcoming hearing will be a crucial moment in the case. The judge will hear arguments from both sides, weighing the brothers' claims of abuse against the severity of their crimes. The judge will also consider the brothers' behavior in prison and their potential for rehabilitation. If the judge grants resentencing, the brothers will then appear before a parole board, who will ultimately decide whether to grant their release. The parole board will consider a range of factors, including the brothers' remorse, their rehabilitation efforts, and the potential risk they pose to society. The road to potential freedom is long and arduous, with no guarantee of success. The Menendez brothers' case continues to resonate deeply within the American consciousness, serving as a stark reminder of the devastating impact of family violence and the complexities of trauma. Their story compels us to confront uncomfortable truths about the hidden epidemic of abuse and its far-reaching consequences. The brothers' claims of abuse, though contested by some, have shined a light on the often invisible suffering of children who endure abuse at the hands of those who are supposed to protect them. Their case highlights the urgent need for greater awareness, prevention, and intervention efforts to address the root causes of family violence. The Menendez case also raises profound questions about the adequacy of the justice system in addressing the needs of victims of abuse. It challenges us to consider whether our current legal framework adequately accounts for the long-term psychological effects of trauma and whether our prisons are equipped to facilitate rehabilitation. The Menendez brothers' case, reignited by the push for their resentencing, has become a flashpoint in the national conversation about criminal justice reform. It forces us to grapple with fundamental questions about the purpose of punishment, the possibility of redemption, and the very definition of justice in a society grappling with its past. Their case highlights the need for a more nuanced approach to sentencing, one that takes into account the mitigating factors of abuse, trauma, and rehabilitation. It compels us to examine the effectiveness of our current prison system, questioning whether it truly serves its intended purpose of rehabilitation or merely perpetuates a cycle of punishment and despair. The outcome of the Menendez brothers' case remains uncertain, but its impact on the future of criminal justice reform is undeniable. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that justice is not a static concept, but an evolving ideal that demands constant scrutiny, adaptation, and a commitment to seeking a more humane and equitable system for all.